experience of anger, not just in myself, but in the patients that I see. I counsel people with cancer and the people who are close to them. I have done that for 20 years. Is that the anger is often the first way we encounter the life force. It's the part in us that wants to resist distortion, that wants to preserve our integrity, that wants to say no to the idea that we are broken, right? And in the form of anger, it is often not very useful. It can help us preserve our integrity, but often we have to connect with that kind of an energy directly as the life force in order to live a life. When I was very, very angry, I spent all of my time going like this to my disease. And of course the disease had total control over me because I spent all my time pushing against it and none of my time living my life. And that there got to be a place when I came to recognize that this rage in me was really a love of life, and that I didn't need to express it as anger, and that I could accept my disease and learn to live with it and in spite of it. And then I became free. Yeah.
You write about how in the healing process of many individuals, they get in touch with a part of their own nature that they were taught by society, as we all are, to repress, to deny. The society suggests that certain kinds of attitudes and impulses and behaviors are to be encouraged and others are not.
Yes, I think often we have edited ourselves. We have fixed ourselves to win the approval of others. And certain of our human dimensions, our birthright, we have repressed or disavowed or disconnected ourselves from. In our particular culture, of course, anything that's intangible, the soul, the intuition, the heart, are repressed. And when a person becomes ill, often they need their wholeness in order to recover. And they may need to reclaim for themselves the things that they have been taught are not valuable, because these things may be the very things that are needed for the healing. Yeah.
And you talk about how parents, in the most loving of ways, guide their children through expressions of approval for certain behavior and disapproval for others, and how that can lead to a disconnection from the life force because we get caught up in whether or not we're approved.
Yes, yes. I think it's a very human thing to trade wholeness for approval, you know? And anything that's been fixed like that isn't as strong as something that's whole, you know, as a human being. It's very difficult. And you know, the whole culture denies certain things. We are very lonely people. We take pride in our loneliness. We are a frontier society. It being an individual, being self-sufficient, being competent, being independent, all of us value these qualities. Well, the shadow side of that is a terrible loneliness. And these are not positions of strength. Independence is not as strong a position as being able to give and receive in community and to know oneself connected to larger realities through communion.
And I found it very striking that you referred to doctors, members of the medical profession, as being amongst the loneliest people of all. It's odd to me because in a sense they seem so well organized.
Well, we are well organized.
Well, and work together in these big beehive-like buildings.
Well, you know, the interesting thing about a medical system is that it is a reflection of the culture that is around it. All of the strengths of our culture, all of its dreams, all of its power is reflected in its medical system, and all of its illusions, all of its flaws, all of its woundedness is also reflected in the medical system. so that the loneliness of people in the culture, that loneliness is amplified between people in the medical system. I'll give you an example of this. I run a training program for physicians in relationship-centered care. And the first module of that training program is about healing.
I just want to repeat that phrase, relationship-centered care. It's such a lovely phrase.
It means a lot to me.
Yeah.
It does, you know. And so the first module is about healing, and it's called Beyond Professionalism, Building Healing Relationships. And we spend 3 days reclaiming the reasons that we went into medicine in the first place, and reclaiming our dream of medicine and the calling, which is deep in every doctor's heart for medicine, which many people have abandoned because they feel that it's not possible to live by this calling in the modern world. And so we've spent a lot of time sharing that with each other, and then we do a very simple ritual. At the closing of this workshop is basically we're sitting in a circle on couches, and it's a form of a healing circle, which we do with people with cancer. Except in this case, I have a little bell, and I strike the bell, and the man to my right says his name, and all of the doctors in the circle, in silence, believe in his dream, believe in his ability to live more by it than he has. Imagine him doing it, pray for him. However they do it, they send him support for his dream. For about a minute in total silence, and then I ring the bell. The next doctor says his name, George, and we all focus on George until we go around the circle. Very simple. And then I say my name, and everyone focuses on my dream. Well, the first time we did this, about halfway through this, I opened my eyes, because I often do this. It's like a meditation. I do it with closed eyes. And I see that 2 of the men have tears running down their faces. Tears. And as we go on, I have no idea why there are such tears, right? And we get to me and finish the circle, and everyone opens their eyes, and most of the people have wet eyes. They have tears in their eyes. And I say, what is happening? What's going on? And one of the men says to me, I have never been wished well by another physician before. And I'd forgotten. I'd forgotten the competition that's in medicine, the loneliness of the expert, the person who is unable to say, I don't know, without shame, right? How isolated we are from each other when we're working shoulder to shoulder on a health team. And if I might say a word about that, a health team is a group of people who are assembled by expertise. And they focus on the needs of the patient, and they are replaceable. If I'm on a health team and I'm a pediatrician, I'm replaceable by any other well-trained pediatrician, like a little module you can put in and out. A healing community are people who are engaged in each other's movement towards wholeness, as much as they are engaged in the patient's recovery of their integrity and wholeness.
Yeah.
It isn't focused on the patient. It is a relationship among professionals which the patient is included into, a healing community. And as the work gets harder and harder, health teams burn out. Healing communities become inspired by the work and are actually fed and nurtured by it.